After the final ball has flown, and the final catch made, and the last screaming fan has left the stadium, the ball is passed from one team member to the next so the players can sign their names. But of all the names, there is one on that ball that is perhaps the most important. That name is Wilson. Good luck this season.
Welcome back to OUA Today. This is the beat that I think I heard about 400 times watching the NBA All-Star Game festivities over the weekend, as it seemed to be the official theme of all things basketball, Brooklyn, and New York. People don't even make songs to be enjoyable anymore. They just make them to be catchy.
Just a feel good.
Yeah, just a great beat. Who doesn't want to listen to this on loop for 12 hours? I know this guy does. That's good. Let's bring in our guest right now from the Laurier Golden Hawks, somebody who writes for the CIS blog, does work for the court up there, does some work on Radio Laurier, covering games this past weekend. Shelby Blackley, how are you this morning?
I'm good. How are you?
I am well. Are you as much a fan of Bruno Mars beats as I am?
I actually don't like this song.
Oh my goodness. Oh, no. Can you please describe to me in a musical sense what makes you upset about hearing amazing horns in every song and little men dancing?
It just really irks me the wrong way.
It just grinds your gears to have happiness in music, doesn't it?
And we play it in the office all the time when we do our production at the court, and everyone else loves it, and the photo editor and I are just like, oh, get us out of here.
Really? See, I'm like that with most songs, and it might be a gender thing for me too, because I find 95% of like the Ariana Grande songs, which by the way, apparently she performed at halftime of the NBA All-Star Game last night, and it was just not good. That was what I heard. But like when it comes to things like, what did you think of Katy Perry's halftime show then?
I thought it was awesome. I think Katy Perry did a really good job, but I've always had like this little crush on Katy Perry because she's just fantastic in every way.
She just does her own thing.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of Katy Perry, but if I could sign anyone to a solo deal,
Shark.
Left Shark.
I was knowing you were going to say that.
Yeah, Left Shark is my boy. There's a really great ESPN ad that came out a couple of days ago.
Man, I can't believe they sent us down there to work.
Me either. Hey, I wasn't too out of sync, was I?
Nah. And if you were, I bet nobody even noticed.
And they just walk up the stairs to the ESPN headquarters. That was really good. But we didn't bring you on to talk about ESPN headquarters and Left Shark, though. We just we get off topic here. I want to ask you, because there's a whole bunch of things going on up at Laurier right now. You were able to cover the basketball games on Saturday evening, I believe, right? So how was spending your Valentines evening at the court with all of the other hoops-loving fans?
Well, definitely the best way to spend my Valentine's Day. I've never been a big fan of Valentine's Day either. I sound like such a cynic. I'm sorry.
You're a hater of love and beautiful music, Shelby.
But it was fun. It's been a while since I've done some calling for basketball, so it was nice to get back on the sidelines of the court. But unfortunately, it was a game against Nipissing, whose both teams are 0-16, so it wasn't the most exhilarating of games, but it was nice to get back on the side of the court.
92-55.
Yeah.
How was that?
Yeah.
It was rough. I did commentary for it, and just trying to find things that were interesting was really hard by the end of the game. I mean, Whitney Eleanor had a standout game, but the more that you say 6-person bench for Nipissing, really tough, first year in the OUA, like the amount of times, they had only 6 people on that bench. They were so injury-ridden that when I went down to get the names and the pronunciations, the trainer was like, oh, you're going to have fun with this one, and just started crossing off the names.
Oh, no.
She put it near the arm, probably.
Yeah. I said that for the at halftime of the women's basketball game on Saturday here at McMaster in the afternoon against Guelph. There was the U12 Blessed Sacrament OBA girls were on the court. They were running around, and they were short for numbers, so they threw me one of their jerseys, and it was like the extra small girls tank top type thing, and I tried to put on, I was like, yes, I'm not doing this in front of 400 people in the gym right now. But I did put on a referee uniform and go out and run around like an idiot and make them do rock, paper, scissors for jump balls and stuff, so that was fun. The other thing I wanted to talk with you about is Laura Brooker, that was just over in Spain competing for Canada at the World Universidad Championships in Granada, Spain. She came back with her second medal in 2 years. Have you been able to speak with her at all? I know she's in transit. She's been flying around trying to get home and whatnot. But that's kind of a big deal to have somebody from your school and a leader of your team, women's hockey, who's ready to go into the playoffs as well, being internationally competitive right before they come back.
Yeah, no, I haven't had a chance to talk to her since she's been since they captured that medal, but I talked to her before she went away, and it was a huge thing for her to be able to go again, and not only go again, but be named the captain. Last year she went, they captured the gold medal easily, and it was a huge thing for her just to be on the international stage. It is for any player. Kelsey Tiga from the women's soccer team went last year in the summer, and she loved it, and they didn't do nearly as well as the women's hockey team, but she still had an incredible experience. So when Brooker got invited to go again, and I talked to head coach Rick Osborne before, probably in October, November, when hockey was just starting, and he said, yeah, I put her name in. There's a very good chance that she'll be going again, and when they named the roster, they named her captain as well, and it was huge for her. She's always been a very good player for Laurier, but always kind of behind the scenes, trying to be that captain that Fiona Lester was, who was a former captain and now plays for the Queen's Gales. And then she's always been an incredible forward, so for her to actually go to the Universiade, be captain, and capture her second medal in less than a year almost, it was incredible for her.
You would have to imagine, too, that going through international competition, regardless of the level you're playing against, I know they were able to beat up on, I believe, Kazakhstan to start the tournament 7-1 or whatever it was, and then come back and they lost to Russia, which was their first loss in 22 games, and then they went into the playoffs against them. They were able to win their semifinal, get into the gold medal match, and then obviously losing to Russia again. But the level of competition that you're playing against, and then you come back to the OUA, which in its own right is extremely high level. You could even argue perhaps that the OUA might be of a higher competition level than some of the poor teams they're playing against, but you would have to imagine for Laura that would give her a bit of an advantage having played in a different kind of arena, right? A different group of competition.
Oh, yeah, and you could see that last year when she came back. I mean, Canada swept the competition last year when they were in Italy, yet she came back and she was faster than she was before she went. And last year, the Laurier Golden Hawks captured the OUA title, and I think it was in part because Laura was able to see things differently. She played with a lot of these players that she ended up having to compete against for that OUA championship. Morgan McAfee was currently on the team with her, and she was on the team last year. So these players that she plays with as teammates when they're on the international level, she comes back with, and she sees the ice in an entirely different way. And Brooker's always been good in being able to analyze the rank, still in basketball land. Analyze the rank, be able to really see what's going on, and she's able to translate that into the OUA. And you're right, the OUA is definitely one of the higher competitive conferences in the CIS. So when you come into the OUA, that's very, very tight-knit right now going into the playoffs, and you're able to see that from a little bit more of a different angle than most players, you've got an advantage.
Is it looking like Laurier is set up for a playoff first-round date with U of T? Is that what I saw?
It got a little bit complicated. It depends on how the OUA is going to settle this. Okay. It could either be Queens or it could be Toronto.
Okay.
By the tiebreaker, it should be Toronto, but they do a different tiebreaker than Queens.
Okay. Yeah,
than the men's, so it could be Queens or Toronto. I think they're confirming it today.
We'll get some clarification on that, but for the sake of the athletes, I'm just very happy for them that it's not Lakehead, Nipissing, Laurentian having to make the home-away home trip back and forth.
Absolutely. Well, even if you play Queens, and this happened last year in the OUA Championship, typically the home team will take the last two games.
Right.
And the away team will take the first game instead of them having to go back and forth for the 3 games.
See, I'm not overly educated in OUA hockey, so is that something that's common? Is that based on distance between schools, or does that commonly happen regardless of if it's Waterloo and Guelph playing like they did last night in men's hockey? Would they just play home, away, home?
They would play home, away, and home. It definitely depends on travel because last year, I mean, when you're playing a team that's 4 or 5 hours away, you don't really want to go 5 hours there, come back to play another game, and then go all the way back there. So usually it's in conversations with the two head coaches what they think is best. But since I've been covering them, which has been 4 years now, if they've been playing a team that's more than 3-4 hours away, they usually do. The away team will take the first game, and then the home team will take the last two.
Okay, so disregard everything I said off the top of the show. That's what we can. That's what we can get from that, I guess.
It's okay.
It's okay.
Thank God you're here.
I'm learning on the fly too. Hey, I spent 5 years trying to play football. Okay? I didn't have a whole lot of time. I didn't have a whole lot of time for anything else. That's okay. No, but
it's okay. It took me a while with football.
Yeah, I've been watching the OUA TV hockey playoffs, the men's side, because the women have yet to begin. It is high level. Like, it's fun to watch. This is what gets me about OUA sports sometimes, and some of these, it's not like hockey's a niche sport in Canada. It's something that's very popular, and there should be more people with all kinds of games, but you might even say the market's oversaturated with hockey teams, whether it's OHL, you're taking your kid to junior games, you're taking your kid to their own, junior B, stuff like that. But in my mind, like, when you watch OUA TV and you see the top plays of the week as well, the OUA puts out the video, some of the goals that are being scored, you're like, why are more people not going to this?
It's like, save your wallet, bring your kids to an OUA game. Don't try to go to the NHL game.
Maybe spend a little less at Toys R Us on Toys R Us in the middle of December, and then take your kid to a game. How does that sound? Yeah. Maybe get your kid a Kingston Frontenac's ticket for Christmas like my dad gave me when I was little. Okay?
That's beautiful.
That's what you got to go to. You also, like we said, you covered some basketball. I saw from your Twitter the other day, is it a team record in wins going into the playoffs for women's basketball? That's pretty amazing, isn't it?
Well, they're not even going into the playoffs yet. They've still got 2 more games.
Yeah.
One against Western on Wednesday and one against Windsor on Saturday. But yeah, it's a record 16 wins, which is the most in the program history.
Do you forecast a win against those two teams?
I forecast a win against the Western Mustangs. Western's a little bit lower in the same division. Now that they did the whole realignment for basketball, Windsor and Western are both in Laurier's division. So I can see a win against Western. Last year in the playoffs, Laurier defeated them, but it was a very good game, so I can see it being pretty close, but I think Laurier's got the edge this year. That Windsor game is going to be outstanding, though.
Yeah.
Middle of January, I remember being at a journalism conference and running back to the hotel room just to turn on OUA TV so that I could watch the end of that game. The last time that they met, and Laurier just edged out Windsor, which was their first loss in, I think it was 3.5 years.
Yep.
And it was outstanding to watch. It was amazing to see Laurier actually be able to do that. And I'm probably the most critical person of the Laurier Golden Hawks, but to see that team that doesn't really have a standout player aside from Whitney Eleanor, who has a hot hand, cold hand every night, it was outstanding to see them really have a team effort against a very good Windsor Lancer team.
Yeah, it is the OUA marquee matchup of the week, should mention as well. It'll be promoted throughout the week. And it'll be a lot of fun to watch. And again, like you're talking about, the last time that they played, not shocking, but just nice to see some parity in the league and to see a team like Laurier be able to compete at a high level. Shelby, thank you so much for your time this morning. I know I got a hold of you late last night and wanted to talk to you about all things, but you're an expert, you're a pro, so I knew you'd be ready.
Not a problem, anytime.
Excellent. Thank you so much. We'll talk to you soon, okay?
Thank you.
That is Shelby Blackley of the Laurier Golden Hawks, talking about all things going on up there. Brooker, pretty good player for Laurier. She left Spain, as we said, with the silver medal, her second after earning gold in 2013. Also the FISU, congratulations to Brehan Solo and McNasty 2.0 and Coach Hunter. This is coming from the Windsor Lancers on a silver medal. There was some Windsor family out there. Should also mention that there's a lot of Canada West guys on the men's Canadian Universidad team.
Yeah, those are the ones that we're not mentioning because we're talking OUA, but we also won 3 bronze.
Yeah, and the CIS family, everyone, there was a lot of very successful athletes that went out that way. I actually have some audio though, because women's curling had to play against Russia in their gold medal match, and as we just talked about, women's hockey lost to Russia twice in the tournament. This is actually audio from inside the Team Russia meeting before the medal games.
I must break you.
I must break you.
I must break you. Russia.
It's a curling term, actually?
Yeah. I must, but no, it's like trying to break and serve. Why don't we know any Russian tennis players? That's going to do it for this right now. We're going to come back in a second. Run a little bit late, but that's okay. We're going to talk a little bit about OUA football real quick, and then we're going to do the big finish. We'll get you going for your week. This is OUA Today on CFMU 93.3.